Look, I'm really fired up about our next guest. Former Philadelphia Eagle, Buffalo Bill, Carolina Panthers, current free agent wide receiver, good friend of the show, good friend of ours from back in the day when we were in the Eagles locker room every day. Jordan Matthews joins us. Jordan, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, guys. It's been a busy morning already. Took my son to camp, got some work in myself. Then we spent some time together, had lunch, and now they're napping. I'm speaking to you guys, which I'm excited about. And then I was telling you earlier, my 3-year-old's got a birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese, man. So it's a full day, but I'm blessed for sure.
Chuck E. Cheese, that brings me back. By the way, the two of you, Matt was saying his kid turned 3 a couple days ago. Is that right, Matt?
July 11th, 4 days before my birthday. Yep.
Oh
There you go. Okay, I'm the 16th.
No way.
I'm the
That's
16th.
awesome.
16th. Yeah. So we're knocking them out. Yeah. So it's a good day though, man. I'm excited just to go celebrate him. He's my youngest of 3 boys, so I got no complaints at all.
Happy birthday to everyone. And my youngest turns 19th on 19, excuse me, on Friday. So I'm
There
going
you go.
to love every moment of this. It does get a little easier. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's what everybody says. I was at a father-son camping trip with my oldest, my 6-year-old, and it was all current dads, but it was one grandfather on the trip. So we're all trying to steal knowledge from him. And he said, trust me, he said, it all works out. He said, that's the only advice I can give you. He said, what you guys are doing right now is exactly what you should be doing. If you stay at this pace, it all works out. And so that's pretty comforting. So I appreciate you kind of piggybacking off what he said. I believe it.
That's tremendous and great to know. Happy birthday to your son. Happy birthday to all these July birthdays on the show.
Yes.
Jordan, want to pick your brain on one of your former teams, the team that drafted you. The Eagles have quite the trio of pass catchers going into this year. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley. You can throw Dallas Goedert into that mix as well at tight end. When you look at that group, how do you think it stacks up, in your opinion, to some of the top receiving corps around the rest of the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it got to be at least in top 3. I know you've got the Bengals, like those 2 guys are pretty spectacular. I think Jamar right now, I know everybody is in love with Justin Jefferson because when you think about quintessential wide receiver play, he kind of makes you feel the most like you're watching Jerry Rice from back in the day. Like he can run the whole route tree. He catches the ball off the body. You can't get him in press. He can find the spot in zone. But man, I love Jamar. Jamar reminds me of that. There's a pocket of guys, I call them wide runners. There's like you got Jamar Chase, you got Deebo Samuel, you got DJ Moore. Those guys at the second they catch the ball, they turn to a running back. And it's not something you can really teach. It's something some of those guys either they trained it as they were young or they just have it innately. And I think Jamar, Deebo probably at the top of that list of guys that can do it. But Jamar can also run the entire route tree. So that coupled with a guy like T. Higgins, that's a good 1-2 punch. So the Bengals are kind of right there with them. But I mean, AJ, I actually think you could probably put AJ in that group too. Coming out of Ole Miss, every time he caught the ball, you were like, is he moving fast? Is he moving slow? I can't tell, but nobody's tackling him. Like he was one of my favorite guys coming out. And I told a lot of people he'd be good. So he's made me look really smart over the years. He's a great player. I know Tennessee hates, they probably let him go. But then you end up having a guy like a Devontae. And the best thing about Devontae is he's a number 1, but he doesn't, like his disposition to a locker room and to a football team elevates everybody. A guy in his situation could blow up a whole locker room, right? I know I'm a 1. I know every single play could be designed for me. I could have a bad attitude, but he just plays the game. He approaches it the right way. And I think he's almost like a breath of fresh air probably to everybody, not even just in the locker room, but in the city, because he always shows up at the big moments too. And just a guy, super humble guy. I remember when they drafted him, it's not easy. It's not easy to play in Philly. And I think as a receiver, it's one of the harder positions to play. Right, I think it's hard to play receiver and corner in Philly. Quarterback's hard to play anywhere. But when you're on an island and you're in a place that loves the game that much and where everything is going to be watched, you can't hide, right? But I remember telling my wife, I'm like, that kid's going to be all right. Like, cause you could tell he was made of the right stuff, and what he did at Bama, I knew he would. So He's made me look kind of smart too. But I think they're probably 1-2 Bengals, Eagles. I'm interested to see the. Sorry, I gotta talk good about another team, but I think the Cowboys probably got one of the best jump ball guys I've ever seen. I
No
think
doubt.
George Pickens, I'm telling you, like if he can stay right here mentally and just locked in, it's like his ability to track the football is the best I've seen. I mean, since some really, if I start throwing names out there, I'll probably end up people might get mad at me, but he's one of the best I've seen. So you have him, you have CD, they're probably right there, those top three.
And you talk about Jalen Hurts kind of playing his way into that conversation among the top quarterbacks in the league with
Yes.
that supporting cast, with the Super Bowl MVP on his resume already. When you look at them going into this year, how does that Philly offense and how does Jalen Hurts kind of take that next step?
Yeah, so I have no problem saying this. If I had a young quarterback and let's say I'm coaching, I had a young quarterback and I had to pick one guy to say, I want you to watch this guy and I want you to approach the game this way at the quarterback position, it would be Jalen Hurts. It would be him. I love Pat. Everybody, I went to the rec yesterday. I dropped my kids off at the YMCA and I just went to go watch basketball. And a Philly fan, guys, I'm all the way in Nashville, and a Philly fan comes up to me and is like, "Is Jalen Hurts in your top five?" I'm like, "Hold on."
Wait. People are bothering you at summer camp to give
I
your.
just wanted to watch rec basketball. Like I'm getting, bombarded with this. But I guess, I guess Cam made some ripples because of his where he ranked him. But I said this, every question for me is different. But if I had a young guy said, I want you to watch how this guy approaches the game. 10 years ago, I would have said Peyton Manning, right? Jalen Hurts is at the top of that list for me. He's a finisher. He's a leader. You don't have to worry about what you're getting day to day. Now, when you start saying, "Hey, where does he rank?" There's a lot of great guys. You got Pat, who I think is in another stratosphere. I don't think we should rank Pat. He's done incredible things. I think after you put him over there, between Lamar, between Jalen, between Burrow, and between Josh Allen, like take your pick. I know people say that Jalen has a crazy supporting cast. So, how do we know? I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a lot of people with great supporting cast that would have found a way to mess it up. Trust me, there's a lot of people that have great teams that have found a way not to finish. But Jalen's a finisher, and so that's why I love watching him play. I like the way he approaches the game. He's probably one of my favorite all-around men in the NFL right now.
I'm stuck on this idea that you're just trying to go to youth sports, and Eagles fans are finding you in Nashville. And
Yeah, they're everywhere. I'll be in Mexico and they'll be like, "Oh, yo, quiero Eagles." I'm like, "Oh, y'all everywhere," But it's good. It's a good feeling though, man. It's good to be loved by the city.
And Jordan, let's look around the league for a minute here. If you had to pick the one receiver who's the total package, has the traits to be elite, has the production, but even more upside from here, you're Jordan Matthews, the NFL GM. You're building your dream roster. Who's the number one wide receiver pick?
Yeah, it's going to be Jamar. Right now, it's Jamar Chase. The ability to catch the ball and make something out of nothing. Like I said, I'm gonna brag on my boy Debo real quick because Debo was with me. I was with Debo his first couple of years of the Niners, and I saw Kyle as an offensive play caller. He would always use words that were like, "We need something to unlock the offense," right? Because if you're stagnant on offense, defense is getting pressure. You know what I'm saying? You're off the field 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Sometimes it's hard to scheme up a play. Sometimes we got to go back to backyard football, and we need somebody to unlock the offense. Let's get a first down so we can get some momentum going. Jamar Chase is an unlocker. Like the fact that you can just give him a quick screen and he can take it 30, that builds the confidence of the whole room. Sometimes it's hard to say, let's get you on a 15-yard dagger with a through route, and safety's going to do this. We're going to hit you in the honey hole. Football's not that predictable all the time. Sometimes you got to get the ball to a playmaker. So Jamar Chase is probably number one. Obviously, Justin Jefferson is right there, number two. Don't kill me. I think CD's top five. I remember Richard Sherman was hollering a couple years ago. CD took that personally. CD's up there, 3, 4. But Jamar, I'm building it with him. A name that I would say still is up there. He had a down year, but you just can't coach it. Is Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think 2 years ago we were having this debate up where I was training. They were like, Jordan, who do you think is the best in the league? I said, well, if you ask me, I like the way you framed it, Matt. If you're building a team, who would you take? Because if we're just talking about receiver play, carbon cutout copy, you can always say Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver, pure, right? But if I'm building a team, I want a guy that makes the safeties always worried that they're going to get beat deep. That's what D-Jack was so good at, and that's why I would take Tyreek Hill. If I was starting a team 2 years ago, I'm like, give me Tyreek Hill. I said that, then he almost goes for 2,000, but it's because you always have to account for him. So now, though, I'm probably going Jamar.
What about if it was a younger guy? Have any younger guys on your radar that aren't household names yet?
Younger guys, I mean, I guess Pickens is still young.
Yeah.
I like him, man. Just the catch radius. I think he's raw. I think he's one of those guys like I know people talk about Chris Carter and they see the professional side of Chris Carter, but people don't. But like he had some rough years when he first got into the NFL, and now George Pickens, it's not that rough. I'm just saying that I know what the narrative around him is that if he can just get certain things aligned, that he can maybe take off. I see all pro talent, but it's can it manifest fully into what it needs to be. So I've liked him since he was at Georgia. I love watching the kid play. Like if you go put on George Pickens highlights on YouTube, you can watch that all day. So I really like Pickens.
Yeah, Jordan, I'm really bullish on Dak Prescott and that Cowboys offense. Dak being back healthy, you pair George Pickens with CD Lamb. How important and valuable is it to a team's success having those two wide receivers? You talk about AJ Brown, Devonta Smith. You talk about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. You talk about Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. How much better can that Cowboys offense be now that you have that legitimate number two with, let's face it, a top 5, top 10 quarterback back and healthy with two real weapons at his disposal like that?
Right. Yeah. Because the Eagles, what they've done now is they've made teams start to say, okay, that 1-2, like that idea of needing that is back. I think for a while, teams started to say, well, the Seahawks are kind of winning with a couple of guys that are just kind of really good, but a good run game and good defense. Okay, the Patriots, they made money for a lot of years with no real, like they would call him. I thought Edelman was a one, but people would not put him in that category. They would say, oh, there's a bunch of kind of good guys, but, they played really solid defense, overall good team ball. Well, once you start seeing, okay, well, people think Jalen is just kind of like, they think he's now climbing in the league. So what's that guy tell you? Oh, well, they must think really highly of his receivers. So if you got two guys like that on the outside that can win one-on-ones effortlessly every single play to the point where you don't even need a really difficult offense, that's going to end up being the new trend. So teams are going to start. I mean, look at what the Steelers did, right? Like they're like, hey, we're going to go get us a guy. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, like that trend is now going to continue to go. Now you got to get the right pairing, right? Like I think Devontae and AJ are kind of unique in the way that they're extremely humble guys. They're going to be able to work off each other. They got a lot of respect for each other. There's no competition there. I think as other teams try and do that, you got to pick the right people.
Yeah.
It's got to work out that way. I think the Niners had that for a while with Debo and Ayuk, but I know they wish they would have been able to capitalize on it completely.
You're talking about Debo. He's in Washington with Terry McLaurin. There's another, and Jaden Daniels. That's another two guys, possibly the personalities that could work out and be those guys who can work off each other.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not really competing for the same ball per se. They're very different in the way that they move, but they're pretty elite. Like Devontae can take over a game. AJ can take over a game. Terry McLaurin can take over a game. So that's where I think their guys are starting to try and get to. I think another thing that you're seeing, like I just remember when I first got to the Niners and Kyle started getting more comfortable and teams started getting better. I saw teams around the NFC West start to do things based off what the Niners did. I saw the Seahawks pay Jamal Adams a lot of money. It's like we gotta have somebody out there that can offset what Kittle's doing. You know what I'm saying? Like on the second level, like the Cardinals were not going to stop paying Buda Baker because you did like because Kittle is a different element that we now have to like account for. These running back / receivers that can catch a jet sweep and go, but also can catch a ball, we got to start to account for it. I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people start to make trends in the NFC West based off what you guys are doing. Cowboys, they're like, we need 2 number ones. Now look at the Giants, though. They may be like, we don't want to give Jalen Hurts any time to throw. So our strategy is going to be, let's beef up this D-line. That's how we're going to do it. But I think a lot of teams are definitely trying to react to what you guys are doing. And I think you're always in a good spot when they're doing that.
Now, Jordan, you were drafted by Chip Kelly back in 2014, and he's
My guy.
suddenly back he's back in the league now.
Yeah.
Suddenly with a lot of weapons at his disposal. You have Ashton Jeanty, heralded franchise running back as a rookie. Talk to me about how Ashton Jeanty fits Chip Kelly's scheme, because before Chip traded away LaShawn McCoy, he had that historic season in Philadelphia. Chip Kelly's NFL return, run-based offense. How does Ashton Jeanty fit? What does he bring to the Raiders?
You know, my favorite thing about Chip was he made the game so much easier. I mean, we worked in practice, but he would always tell you is like the game's going to be slow by the time we get out there. He was true to his word. I felt probably more confident than I ever did in any system, college or pro, playing under Chip, because he simplified it for us so we could play fast. We repped it constantly. But I mean, we would work. So that way, by the time we got to the game, it was like slow motion. It was like it was like carving through butter half the time we would go out there and play. So I think there's a mindset that you have to have where you got to appreciate that work. You got to love that process. If you're not process oriented, it's going to be a little bit harder. It's going to take you time to really get up to speed to what Chip's asking for. That's why I think Ashton Jeanty is going. He seems like a heady guy. He seems like he's very intelligent. He knows what's being asked of him. And if you say, "Hey, we're working hard so that the game's going to be easy," I think that's going to hit his brain the right way. I also think that too, when he was with us, you saw success he had with the tight ends. I think that's kind of reminiscent at the Raiders, what he had with us in Philly. He's got a Brent Selleck type, a younger kind of Brent Selleck with Mayer, but then also you kind of got an Ertz type with Brock Bowers, who can do what he needs to do in the run game. But man, like that dude's a threat in the receiving game. So that kind of reminds me of that. And then I think you kind of got a Macklin type with Jacoby. A guy that can run the whole route tree, very consistent, can give you 1,000+ yards, kind of run the whole tree, smart guy. I think that'll be a great foundation for them to build on. But I mean, like Chip's my guy. Like I got more respect for him than most coaches. And so I love the fact that he grind. Like you got to respect that. I know that when you're in this game, it's easy for everybody to take their shots. That's why we do it. It's why we try and do it at the highest level. That's the point of it. But you got to respect it. To grind all the way back, win a championship as an OC, and now we're back in the NFL. I couldn't be happier for him.
When you look at the Raiders, how do you think that scheme winds up taking shape? Do you think it's going to be the 150 plays a game that you guys had that week 1 against Washington? Is it going to be similar to what you guys built together? The personnel sounds like he fell into a situation where it's similar to what he had in Philly. But if you're kind of looking into your crystal ball, Jordan, how do you see the Raiders offense kind of shaping up from the passing game going into this year?
Yeah, I'm never afraid to say I don't know.
Yeah.
Offense, I guarantee, has evolved. I remember somebody, I think Chip was at UCLA, and some reporter asked him, I was watching it, and he was like, "Hey, is it going to be kind of like what you did here?" And Chip kind of looked at him and like, "You don't think that I'm evolving the offense? Like, why would I? Why would I stay the same?" And so, we don't expect players to stay the same. We're either getting better or you're getting out the league. And so he feels that same way. I think he adopted more huddle when he was at Ohio State. There's times when I watched in the playoffs, like, okay, I remember us running that. Like, there's similar concepts. But like I said, I think there's a mindset that I think is consistent. And the mindset that I know is consistent is Chip's going to try and get everything out of you during the week, during camp, so that when the game time comes, the game's easy. That's from walkthrough, that's from meetings, that's from time on the field. It's never like, oh, we're coach. It doesn't matter who you are. Lowest draft pick, highest paid guy. He's going to get everything out of you. But that's what I mean. Go look at, I mean, even D-Jack. D-Jack, as phenomenal as he was productive everywhere he's played football. But his best yardage year was also with Chip. I think it was the same way with LaShawn. I know it was that same way with me and a few other players. So he's going to get the most out of you. I'm excited to see how he does it, but I can't say I know exactly what it's going to look like, but I know it'll be fun.
Jordan, before we came on here, you filled us in on this exciting charity softball game you just had at Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Fill us in. What was that like? It sounds like there was a lot of star power descending on Nashville last week.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think anytime you can galvanize the community for children per se, I think it's a beautiful thing because I think a lot of our young people don't feel seen. I think that's probably the biggest thing. We live in a world where everybody's watching everybody. You got your phones out, and you think everybody's life is better than yours. And so we connected with this foundation called Eli's House, where they take most of the families that they take in are single moms with kids that are close to hitting the poverty line. And if they get in more dire straits, they have the chance of their children going into the foster care system. Eli's House brings these families in, helps these women rehabilitate, teaches them job skills, helps them with trauma relief, the whole nine. So in 2 years, they get to go back into society in a much healthier space, and they get to keep the families together. We know the statistics, guys. Like if a child grows up with one, and especially two of their biological parents, their chances of having a flourishing life go up. So we want to try our best to make that happen. We know that's not the case all the time, but if we can keep families together, that's our goal. And so we met with the people at Eli's House. I told them, hey, I can get some of my Vanderbilt friends, some of my celebrity friends in Nashville. We'll play a game. We'll make some money. We'll make these families feel seen. I think we did that.
That's phenomenal. And Diego Pavia was there, right?
Diego, bro. I saw Diego. I went by Vanderbilt's practice today. They were in their last bit of OTAs before camp starts. And dude, he's a man. Bro, he elevates that whole place. The juice. If you watch this dude at practice, I'm telling you, when he's under center, everybody from the line to the receivers, everybody raises their level of play. I know he's going to ball out this year. We're lucky to have him. But it's funny. Everybody's always like, oh, this is his last hurrah, then he'll be out there. I think he's going to ball out. I think somebody's going to say, I at least want to see this guy in camp. Somebody in the NFL is going to fall in love with him. I'm telling you guys, somebody in the NFL is going to fall in love with Diego Pavia. Yep.
That's fine. And the charity is Eli's House, and it's out of Nashville.
Charity is Eli's House. It's out of Nashville. Now, I will say we are consolidating all the charitable gifts from the last 2 weeks. Silent auction, we closed that up. We got all the ticket sales from Vanderbilt, and we just closed up all of our sponsorships. So I'm delivering that check on Friday. So I don't want somebody to go to the website and think they're giving. Just go straight to Eli's House at this point. Eli's House is in Nashville, Tennessee. You can give to them. The money's all going there anyway. So if you want to make a charitable gift to them, you can do that. Matthew's Mission, you can look at matthewsmission.com. You can donate to us. I can assure you, I'm number one on the list of people that want people's money to go to the right place. I hate when people are like, I don't know where my money's going. I'm like, me too. Let's get your money in the hands of the people that need it. So, yeah.
Jordan Matthews out here doing God's work in the community. Much appreciated. And I'm sure that doing incredible work for the people of Nashville and across the country. We appreciate you taking a few minutes with us. He's former Eagles, Bills, Panthers, 49ers wide receiver. You can follow him on Instagram at JMatt3X. Jordan, appreciate the time as always. Look forward to talking to you further up the road, my friend.
I appreciate you guys, man. It was awesome. Thank you.
Great stuff from Jordan Matthews there. We were both in the locker room with him back in the day when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. One of my favorite athletes to cover. Really cool to be able to talk not only Eagles football and their expectations this year, but kind of what he expects from the receiver position around the league. Great stuff.
Absolutely. It's good seeing him again. Like you said, you see these guys a few years ago, you lose track of them as they go around the league. I kind of disappear from the locker rooms a little bit. Great hearing from him again.